Yo, welcome back, guys. This is day 11 of improving my speech impairment. I am having cold. Anyways, I am gonna do it. Let's get started. I can't say no to people because of this. People often impose themselves on my wants and feeling and takes advantage of my niceness. You can't say no because you can't afford to make people unhappy. If they are unhappy with you, you are unhappy and you want to be happy. You may tell others I become unhappy because I didn't get to do what I wanted. But the real story doesn't stop there. Why you don't tell them is that the unhappiness unvanishes the moment you see others being happy with you. Despite the fact that you still didn't get to do what you wanted. People being happy with you gives you so much pleasure that it feels like a much big reward than you would feel if you stood up for yourself and said no. In short, because happiness is your priority, self respect is ignored. And this is why, even though you complain to people about how unhappy it makes you, you keep repeating it, especially with people you desperately want to make happy. And you may do that at the cost of working overtime, sleeping less than planned, disrupting your own plan entirely, all because it gives you a great burst of pleasure for having helped them. Fifth, I am a dumbass because I have no idea what I wanted to do and others are doing so much better than me. You are unhappy because others are doing better than you in which case you would be happy if you were doing better than others. At any point the source of your happiness and unhappiness rest in comparison to others. The act of comparing yourself has its basis in nothing but simple observation. A comparison could be triggered from seeing anything and anybody. It could be a vague as comparing yourself to a celebrity, a person have met for the first time, or a person you have only heard about from others. From that, you conclude they have better than me. How fucking dumb is that? It is not a comparison of data as much as it is of your perception of them. It is you drowning in sorrow because you have assumed that have something that you don't and that something would makes you happy. This assumption exists because you have no idea what would make yourself happy and because you don't know that the entire focus of your mind is on the outside. Instead of looking inwards for the answer, you are busy wanting what others have, learning what makes others happy, copying the lifestyle of others, coveting what you don't have, and as a result, developing a deep sense of disregard and ungratefulness towards what you do have. Six, Sixth, life was so much fun back then. Life was great. I wish we could go back and live like that forever. The thing is, you were the happiest at the at your stupid self when you were young in college, school with your friends. You were experimenting with rebellion against a structure, engaging in activity that produces reward like gaming, entertainment with friends, and pleasure, partying, dating, alcohol, weeds, fun. What you don't realize is that at that time you could afford that experimentation. There were no real structure. You were free of any possibilities, duties, and consequences. You were in a safe environment. Now you are not. What worked then won't work now because the rule, environment, and your age have changed, but you want to be happy has not. This explains the confusion as to why the same degree of happiness is not reachable anymore, hence you blame growing up for it. If growing up was the problem, then you are suggesting a life without responsibilities, duties, and consequences is better, and this is called escapism. As a kid, your reality was structurally designed to keep you as free as possible. Therefore, those wants were that reality was manipulated, the current one is not. Ask any person whose life growing up was a continuous battle with tragedy, tra- tragedy, troubles, and struggle. If they wish to go back, and you will know the difference. Your responsibilities, duties, and consequences pose as a problem to you because you are a grown person with the wants of. clueless kid to be happy all the time. All of the above problem resolve around four things: making yourself happy, making other happy to make yourself happy, making yourself sad because other are presumably happy, making yourself sad because you see to be happy, because you used to be happy. The common link, as you can see, is seeking happiness. We keep prioritizing it because we are convinced that happiness is what we want from life and that it is the unlimited answer. In doing so, we tend to deprioritize most things that have nothing to do with happiness. They could be your self respect, conscience, morality, rational thinking, common sense, logic, and self betterment. I am pretty sure that right now you would choose the other things as they sound sensible, but in life it is not possible as long as you are convinced that happiness is the final goal. You have to chuck that thought out of your mind. You have to say, fuck happiness, I don't want to be happy. I want to be satisfied in life. I want self satisfaction. How do you make that transition? Let's talk about it in the next chapter. Chapter 9. Choose satisfaction, not happiness. Mind you, self-satisfaction does does contain precise knowledge of what would make the self happy, but it's only one part of the whole picture. Self-satisfaction starts with the knowledge of the self. The thing with knowledge of such kind is when it's not applied, it gets locked up in the theoretical side of your brain to be used later when you wish to sound smart or give smart advice. Knowledge of self therefore can be only be achieved by knowing with certainty that it works when applied in reality. Let's analyze what makes you happy. So, what is it that's make you happy currently? Well, it could range from your phone to your friends to that person you love. It doesn't matter if it is productive or unproductive. We are looking at everything. It could be reading books, listening to podcasts, watching documentaries, and it could be wasting time with the friends, getting high, watching endless bullshit videos, and scrolling through the picture of the people to jerk off to whatever you want. I want you to start. I, I want you to start looking at whatever you do with an assumption you wanted to. You would be fine without everything you currently believe makes you happy. You might wonder how is that helpful. You might wonder how is that helpful. The thing about whatever you think are your wants is they probably haven't been chosen by you. You have to understand a lot of people and companies. You are a customer, you are a part of the statistics, you are a target audience, you are being sold new wants every day. Your mind is being fucked with properly, so you choose and like certain things. To put it differently, those things are designed in a certain way that your mind will like them. You may say, well, even if I am manipulated to like something, I still like it. If I didn't, I would not be doing it. Fair argument on the other side, but what it lacks is choice. Manipulation tends to seriously fuck with your ability to make a rational choice. Manipulation feeds on the weakness and vulnerabilities. Anything that is bullshit on targeting your weakness and naivety and making you its customer is fucking wild because it doesn't care about you at all. It doesn't care about your age, maturity, and personal development either. You are a user, that's all it cares about. Most of our wants come from whatever society has made you believe in awesome conditioning, whatever you see and have learned that others want, following others. Whatever appear to be exciting to you, your impulse. So when you assume it will be fine without everything I currently believe makes me happy, you question the source and legitimacy of what your wants are. As they even chosen by you, that's the current point. Whatever your wants are, let's divide them into two categories. The first would be wants that contribute to long-term result. The second would be wants that bring your momentary happiness. Let's call the first category valuable because they bring value to your life, and let's call the second interest because they deal with your actual interest in life. Long term happiness. Undervalue or long-term result you want are further divided into two sections: stability and cultivation. Stability. Doing these things give you a structure on your future and the opportunity to make it even better. They make you aware of what you want from your day, what you don't want, and what you want only in controlled quantities. Doing them makes you feel glad and gives you purpose in life. They tend not to give instant happiness but help you get closer to peacefulness. Cultivation. Doing these things help you in the cultivation of your mind. For example, listening to a podcast which gives you knowledge and different perspective, watching movies or TV shows that make you think, and watching and listening to the people who help you figure out better way to deal with the daily struggles and needless desire. They give you references point and clarity about self, not just more mere viewing pleasure. Do you at times watch particular scene from the movie because they instantly make you focus? You do that because they have become reference point and reminder to what your self want. Therefore, whenever you are unmotivated, they help bringing clarity instantly. Sorry. Any of your wants that serve stability and cultivation majority influence how you think in life, the choices you make, and how you see things. So, out of all your actions and activities that you may call your daily wants, how may fall under values? Your first answer may be absolute nothing. Don't worry, it's very common. People usually prepare themselves when they in an urgency and needs. Without those, we tend to just keep doing whatever we do normally. People tend to realize the importance of the category value when they look back on their lives and say, you know, I could have done this, I know I could have, I had what it takes in me, but I wasted my time doing stupid shit. The realization comes that usually when you believe that the opportunity or time has passed. By opportunity, it could be anything: a skill, personality development, or developing control over certain tendency in you that had led to harm in your career and relationship. It's one of the worst feeling knowing you could have control and change the outcome of something that now you regret. If only I had realized it at the right time. There is no known deadline for the right time, only the truth that it will come. The only sensible thing you can do to protect what matter is prepare yourself for it. That's how you prosper in the long term, by thinking, knowing, and acting on what's best for the long run, financially, mentally, sexually, and physically. Your second answer could be I am doing nothing that would fall under stability, but I do read, watch, and learn from things that would come under cultivation. That's great. That's your invest in the cultivation of your mind. This means that you have come in contact with something that not only made sensible to you, but took you to a place where you were alone and thinking. But here is a problem at time when people find something that makes them think as an individual, they don't hold on it. Instead, they do something that ruins this particular experience entirely for them. This is what they do. You found something that makes you think, but then you shared it with the person closest to you, expecting them to either feel the same thing you did, or start thinking that way, or be impressed by you for sharing it. When they don't express the same excitement excitement chances are chances are you put the whole things behind you. I guess they didn't like it. Basically, they spoiled it for you. When they don't agree with the idea, you might see the idea as a failure because it doesn't work on them. When they are impressed by you, you feel kind of smart for having sent them content that they thought were clever and deep, and that's where your focus stay. In all three cases, the idea is not further discussed, debatable, or developed in your mind. Instead, it is forgotten in a matter of days. Always remember, the truth the true test of any idea is not its popularity, but how deep it makes you think. From now on, anytime you feel anything is making you think, it's an indication that you need to look into it more. Don't move and don't care about the response of other if you share it with them. It speaks to you, therefore develop it further in your mind. It could be about anything, religion, relationships, social work, dating, or human behavior. You need to test the idea by imagining or imagining if this was a strict want or rule in your life. Does it makes you more in control or more secure or not? This could lead you to discover an actual wants of yours. The point of cultivation is not storing knowledge in your mind so you can use it later to impress people. That might makes you knowledgeable, not intelligent. It's pointless if it doesn't reflect in your action. Cultivation of your mind means keeping what makes you think and applying what makes sense. So you need to ask yourself again, how many daily wants and action of yours are geared towards serving stability and cultivation? If not many or none in your answer, it's serious concern, my friend. Sooner or later you will have to take hold of the steering wheels of your life. You might as well start thinking about it now. Let's talk about the second category. This was for the day. See you in the another video. Till then, keep going. I'm rooting for you. Bye bye.